One Piece.
One Piece discussion.
All right, a little late on this one. Won't happen again. We got the important one out, Mr. Dr. Stone. So
So
let's start
I
with. Okay, yeah. What do you want to say, Thurman?
I need to talk about how first and foremost, this whole chapter. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. It's how is when Luffy flat out said Ace is dead.
That was
Like,
me, man. That's my thing that I need to rub into your face. Last week, I'm pretty sure you were like, "Nah." I think you told me that you thought Marco was gonna tell her or something, and I was like, "I don't know."
I did
Luffy's...
not. That's a lie.
Bullshit.
That's a lie. I don't
Go
recall
back and
any
view
of
the
that.
previous week's video.
I'm gonna find that. Yeah, I'll find it. But I'm pretty sure you said that.
So my thing is this, right? I feel like there's a lot of insensitivity in this chapter, and it's not because of Luffy. It's because these two are very insensitive. This entire chapter, I was thinking like how they're saying, "No, Luffy, you're lying. You're lying. Oh, you're insensitive. Oh, and Tama kept hitting Luffy in the head, saying he promised me he'd come back." But I'm just thinking like, bro, Luffy just saw his brother die right in front of him. Obviously, they don't know that, but I was thinking like, wow, it's kind of, you guys are calling him insensitive. Well, Luffy was the one who was hurt more by Ace's death. So I was kind of like,
Well, Tama, they don't know that that's Luffy's brother, right? Like, or that he's Ace's brother. And not only that, but here's the problem, right? All it would have taken would have been for Luffy to just say, "Oh, I'm his brother," but he doesn't say it for what I assume is going to be a big dramatic reveal. That's kind of like the big thing. A lot of people are like, "Why the fuck didn't Luffy just tell her that he was Ace's brother?" You know what I mean? So I mean, like, I can't really blame them because you got to understand there's a tact to this. There's like a bedside manner to this. You know, like they are not wrong in Luffy has a very blunt ideal on this. He says, well, there's no reason to lie to her. She's waiting for nothing at this point. But most people would kind of wait for a better time because at that time she's already poisoned. She's in a very weak state mentally and physically. It's just not a good time to tell her. Is what more of the point that her caretaker was making. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Now, what I will say is I think that this exemplifies. I think if anything, this shows some maturing of Luffy because he's gotten to the point where I think Luffy has gotten to the point where he's able to kind of like talk about it without breaking down. He's able to. This shows to me complete acceptance of what happened and the fact that potentially the fact that maybe he doesn't want to talk about it. Like maybe it's still kind of a little bit of a sore thing. Like he could have gone into details, but he'd rather not because it brings up bad memories potentially.
Yeah, kind of like that. Not post-traumatic stress disorder, but something else.
I don't know. Just like a thing that you'd rather not talk about because it brings up bad memories.
Yeah.
But it's more of just like the bluntness was hilarious. But Thurman, you absolutely in the last video said that you thought that it was going to be like a couple dozen chapters before he told her that Ace was dead. You said that.
I don't recall. I need proof.
I'll give you a timestamp. I'll check it after this video and I'll give you a timestamp. But it happened.
What if you're wrong? What do you owe me?
Well, what do you owe me if I'm right? And then let's do this. Go, please.
If I'm right.
Okay.
If I'm right.
Yeah.
You have to go on your public Facebook and say you are a big fan of Black Clover. You love it. And Black Clover is better than Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, that last one hurts. I could have done all the other stuff.
What the fuck is any of this? Like, oh my god.
I was just about to agree, but on like the 1% chance that I'm wrong, I couldn't type those blasphemous words. Oh, nah, it's not worth the bet, man. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Speed beats comprehension again.
Well, okay, but I mean, if I was gonna ask for some sort of monetary reward if I was right. I was gonna be like, I don't know, give me one full one of your paychecks.
Like you need it, you fucking rich bitch.
Please. I'm the richest of the poor, and it would go greatly towards the Hunter x Hunter statue I need to buy. I need GoFundMe.
GoFundMe, from paying for healthcare to paying for miscellaneous goods.
Yeah. But moving on to more One Piece, though. Let's talk about... Can we talk about the sword thing for a second, Thurman? There's a couple things I want to talk about here. So, David, can you live edit those things up real quick? And Thurman, I'm going to send you something on Discord. I want you to take a look at these things, okay?
Boop, boop.
Mm-hmm. So, you know how we talk about speed versus comprehension here on this channel?
Yes.
You're speed. I'm comprehension. I'm going to show you how comprehension does it, all right? When speed reads a chapter, speed keeps going. Speed doesn't stop. But comprehension, when I read this chapter, I got to this page with the sword thing, and I stopped. I stopped and I thought for a second, and I was like, wait a minute. That whole Kietsu Kotetsu, that sounds really familiar. You know what that reminds me of when Zoro was at Logtown and buying those swords, and Tashigi was telling him about like the famous sword grades. So I went back on my One Piece shelf of manga that I have legally bought and in support of the official release, Thurman, and
I have One Piece manga volumes, so you can suck it.
Yeah. Anyway, so I went there as comprehension does, and I saw these, and I was like, this is fascinating to me. Okay, so the sword that Luffy grabs is Kotetsu the Second. Kitetsu the Second. Okay. Now the sword that Zoro bought at Logtown was Kitetsu the Third. And she even mentions, if you look at the bottom thing I sent here in Discord, it's worth 1,000,000 berries. The sword's predecessor, Kitetsu the Second, was an excellent grade sword. And the original was a supreme grade sword. So what it is the Kitetsu the First was an amazing sword. Kitetsu the Second was a pretty damn good sword. Kitetsu the Third is a good sword. Because I don't know if you remember the 3 sword classes. It's like the really fucking good ones where there's only 12 in the world. Then like the also really good but not as good as the really, really good. Then there's 40 in the world. And then there's, like there's the classes, right? So Zoro at that store, he bought Kitetsu the Third, which is like part of like a good group but not like the crazy good group, right? It was like the 3rd class of swords. Luffy just stole from this guy's house the predecessor of that sword that Zoro has.
Zoro's gonna want that sword.
Yes, and you know what's more interesting, right? I don't know if you remember this, Mr. Speed, but in Logtown, when he got that sword, it was stated that it was a cursed sword. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So it was a cursed sword, and he did that whole thing where he like threw it up in the air and it spun, and he was like, well, let's see what's stronger, the sword's curse or my determination, right? Or my luck or something like that. And like the sword, like it almost cut his arm off, but it missed it, remember?
Yeah.
And then at the arc after that, Zoro mentioned that the sword was particularly bloodthirsty. It would like move in ways that he didn't expect, almost as if it was moving on its own.
Okay.
So, point being, you also have this guy here telling Luffy that the sword he's taking is cursed. Because it's the predecessor of the cursed sword that Zoro has. So, a lot of people are thinking, what if in this arc, Zoro gets all 3 Kitetsu blades? And I'm also hearing theories that what if having 3 cursed swords amplifies his demon abilities, like Ashura and shit like that?
It turns him part demon.
Well, I don't know if it would turn him part demon, but I've been hearing theories lately that the reason that he has those Ashura type abilities, like you remember Ashura, right? The weird 9-headed thing that he did.
Yeah, I love that shit.
I love it too. Still never been explained how he does it, which is something I'm sure Oda will go into eventually. But we don't know because we don't know if that's hockey. We don't know if that's something else. But like, a lot of people are starting to, like, a theory that's coming out now is that maybe that is something he can do because of owning the cursed sword Kitetsu. And I'm hoping in this next chapter we have a moment where Zoro, like, potentially looks over to the sword that Luffy's holding and he's like, what the fuck? Because, just in case you're curious how this works, the swords get better, like they're like the blank, the first is the best, and then it degrades in quality as it goes, because what it's supposed to be is like, Kitetsu the First was made by the actual Kitetsu. Kitetsu the Second was made by a student of Kitetsu, and Kitetsu the Third was made by a student of Kitetsu. So obviously the skill would degrade over time, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So Zoro has the third, which is a good sword, but not as good as the second or the first. So Luffy just got the second, which is... And by the way, this is just... I love when One Piece does this. You have him mention... Yeah, you can take it down if you want. You have him mention Kitetsu the Second all the way back in Logtown. Just to remind you, that was chapter... I believe... Let me double check. I think that was in the... God damn it, motherfucker. Shut up. That was chapter 97, okay? Chapter 97, he name dropped Kitetsu, the Kitetsu clan, the Kitetsu swords, and the sword grade shit, and it's now happening. It's now coming into play at chapter 912. Can we just golf clap, Oda, please? Like, I love that shit. And she specifically, you saw in the thing that I mentioned, Tashigi mentions Kitetsu the Second, and here it is. This is what I love about series like this. This is what I love about long-running series. Series that can be this long and have this good world exploration. When you can, 20 years ago, real time, mention a thing and its legendariness, and then have Luffy fucking randomly stumble across it hundreds of chapters later. I love that. Because that makes this world feel so... That'd be like if you were, that'd be like if you were like a world traveler. Like let's say back, like we're talking like Dr. Stone era stuff. Like there's no buildings, there's no whatever. It's Legend, NES Legend of Zelda style. It's dangerous to go alone, take this, right? And someone tells you the tale of this crazy waterfall, Niagara Falls. It's huge and crazy, right? And you just walked and you traveled all your life and you just stumbled upon it randomly. I love that sense of adventure and thrill, and this thing is out there, and you might find it one day. I love that, and it's fucking fantastic, and I love that about One Piece.
Yeah, man, I agree. This is some epic. I like how he doesn't forget either, because a lot of manga teams seem to forget the stuff that they mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Long. Cough, Toriyama. Cough.
Oh my god.
That seems to be that's a really good trait of Oda. He seems to remember a lot of stuff.
I'm telling you, he's got to have some sort of conspiracy theory sticky note style thing on his wall, man. But we also have, so this guy here is a swordsmith. So I'm hearing a lot of theories too that like if Zoro doesn't just take Kitetsu the Second, he might get a sword made for him, like a specialty. Because Rogers Base. Do you know the YouTuber Rogers Base?
I've never heard of him.
Oh, okay. He's a pretty big One Piece YouTuber. I have mixed feelings on him because you ever watch a YouTuber where like everything they do and feel seems fake? Like he just feels like a fake human being. Like he feels. Yeah. So I'm not a fan of him, but sometimes when you're desperate for One Piece reviews and he's the first one to upload. But he had a theory that I kind of liked, where he was like all of these swords that Zoro has are swords that existed previously before him and have their own stories and legends. But Zoro needs a sword of his own that was created for him, and then he can create the legends for those swords. So he was saying it'd be cool if someone made a sword for Zoro, and then that became Zoro's sword. You know what I mean? And not because Zoro has a bunch of borrowed swords. He's never had a sword made specifically just for him.
That's very interesting. I would consider the thought, especially considering if Zoro, because I don't know, was Mihawk? Would you explain where Mihawk got the black sword? I forget.
I know it's named. I don't remember. It's like Yoru or something, I think. It is one of the 12 great swords, Mihawk's, because you see in this chapter like the sword grading system. It is one of the 12 greatest swords in the world. I don't think it's been... I'm pretty sure it hasn't been explained where he got it yet, but I'm 99% sure it will be.
So, like, I was just saying that if, like, maybe Mihawk, Mihawk kind of maybe he was given that sword by someone, or that sword was made for him. So, so it would make sense if Zoro wanted to be a great swordsman. Like, what's kind of like the tradition is that a swordsman and a swordsmith kind of go hand in hand,
mm-hmm.
So, like it's kind of like how... you saw the shipwrights, how the dude at Frankie's mentor, he says that he's the one who made Roger's ship, and he took pride in that. And a pirate is only as good as his ship is. So it's similar to how a swordsmith and a swordsman are like. A swordsmith would be well known for creating a sword that's on this,
Yeah, I mean,
it could be similar to that.
Yeah,
which would be kind of interesting if Oda went that route.
I agree, and it's Wano, it's samurai country. Almost everyone is in agreement that Zoro is going to get a new sword or two at some point. The only one that it will never be replaced is, obviously, he has to keep. I don't remember the name of all of his swords, but he has to keep the one that was given to him by Kuina, because that's kind of the symbolism. He's taking that sword on. And plus, it's a good sword in its own right. It's actually one of the legendary swords. The one that he was given to him by Kuina is actually one of the legendary swords. And keep in mind that sword was given to Kuina by her father. And a lot of people think that her father, Zoro's master, is from Wano, which would actually make sense.
Everything's coming together.
Yeah, love that about One Piece. So I think that it'd be cool if he, I'm thinking, here's the main theories I'm hearing, right? So, a lot of people are thinking that Shusui, the one with the red design on the hilt, and he got it from the thriller bark zombie.
I love the design of it.
I do too. It's the same design in the manga. It didn't change.
I mean, but you know how the anime makes it visual, You
mean just colored?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. It's just the problem is Oda doesn't color every chapter, but in color pages, it's canonically it is red. It's not like they changed it. But what I wanted to say though is I love it too, but don't be too disappointed because if this happens, because I do think that this is going to happen. A lot of people are thinking that because you know how that sword is the national treasure of this island of this country, and it was stolen unfairly by Gecko Moria.
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking that Zoro is going to return it at some point, because obviously the last person tried to steal it douchily. A lot of people are thinking Zoro is going to return it and in return replace it with either a sword that he gets made specifically for him or Kitetsu II that Luffy has right now.
That would be interesting. I would consider it something unique, especially when it comes to Zoro's character, because how Zoro respects his sword as much as he does.
Well, I think he also, I'm pretty sure he would respect the fact that it's tough, right? Because do you remember at the end of Thriller Bark when he did that sword? Or no, I think it might have been. I don't actually remember if it was Thriller Bark or no, it was because it was with Brook. Remember the scene where he did the funeral for one of his swords that got fucked up?
Yeah.
I think it would be something like that where he realizes hey, this is a sword that I was generously given by the spirit of your dead hero zombie Thriller Bark. It was weird, it just seems kind of, I don't know. Zoro's a good guy to an extent. I feel like if he's offered a sword of equal or greater value, he would be okay, fair trade. It's tough to say.
I think so too.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a respect thing because if he honors the fact that that's kind of the national treasure of this island. So
I feel like it would have to be. I feel like it would have to be something big enough for Zoro to get rid of it.
Well, that's why I think it might either be Kitetsu II, which remember Kitetsu II. Well, see, he's gonna get Kitetsu II. I'm almost positive. He's either going, but I don't see him just replacing Kitetsu III. So what I'm thinking one or two of his swords might be broken in this arc. You know what I mean? He might fight a swordsman so good that they just fucking Mihawk his swords in half. And I think what would be most ideal is if theoretically, let's say he's fighting some dude. They cut both swords in half. Both swords. Maybe not Shutsui though. They probably shouldn't. I don't know. Okay, I think these should cut in half. Kitetsu III. Then he could replace Kitetsu III with Kitetsu II, and then I think he should replace. He should give back Shusui, which I'm hoping that name is correct. He should give back Shusui to get a new sword made for him. I think that'd be cool. Because Kitetsu, that'd be a big upgrade. And at first I was going to say he'd just trade him in, but Zoro's, I don't feel like he would disrespect a sword like that, just trade it in. So I think he'd have to get destroyed in order for him to do that. But I do think that Oda's going to give him, because Sanji got the power boost in this arc with the whole raid suit situation, and when he'll use that, who knows? But he will at some point. And then so kind of Zoro needs a power boost this arc, I feel. I guess he doesn't need one because we haven't seen him go full out yet, but I do feel like he's going to get Kitetsu the Second because it's basically like a huge upgrade from his current Kitetsu the Third. Either way, something's going to happen with Zoro's swords, and I'd like to see one of those things happen that we mentioned.
I agree, man. I wholeheartedly agree.
So let's move on to this is a little detail that I feel like a lot of people could overlook, but it's important. X-Drake fucking this village up. I mean, what's your thoughts? Oh, I just farted massive. I apologize. That one, I laughed and it just came out. Don't worry, David's used to his father. I've been here with his father's here. It's bad. But what do you think about X-Drake fucking this village up, Thurman?
That's kind of. If I remember correctly, X-Drake.
He was the one that was a former Marine, and then he went rogue because he didn't like what was happening in the Marines. I think.
I thought he was. I swear I thought it was the guy who was the T-Rex.
Yes.
Oh, so that is him. One of the worst generation. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Remember, because Kizaru talks to him, and he's like former Rear Admiral X-Drake, and they called him a traitor and shit and stuff. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, no. So he. What's interesting about
I remember him because Dolphy killed his father in the
Yep. And remember, Sengoku took him in same as Law, if I'm remembering correctly. Or no, Sengoku took him in. Not he didn't take in Law. He took in Do Flamingo's brother, right? Or I don't remember. I'm mixing this up here.
He took in Kodo's own.
Mm-hmm.
Then I believe he took in the Marines rescued him because he ran away from the house. Yes,
you're right. Which is probably how he became a Marine originally, but then he left it. But no, so what this tells me, though, this is interesting, right? The fact that he was able to destroy this village and presumably kill a bunch of innocents, it says two things to me. It says either, one, he truly has joined Kaido, like, for real, or two, he's like playing really, really hard at the double agent thing. You know, so it's either one, he actually is with Kaido, or two, he's like hardcore acting right now. Like you know what I mean? Like one of those, like, it had to be done. I don't, you know what, like, what do you think? Because I was going into this arc with the assumption that most of the Worst Generation were pretending to work with Kaido, but I mean, like, this is extra as fuck. Like, if X-Drake just came in here and annihilated this village, I mean...
Honestly, to me, I wasn't expecting... I knew X-Drake was on Kaido's crew, but I really wasn't expecting much from him. I was expecting, like...
It's Oda, my dude. You expect stuff from everyone.
From what honestly what I was expecting for the Worst Generation, this arc was just, you know, Eustace Kid, Scratch Poo, which I really hope I get to see him.
Oh, I love
my
him.
Boy.
Scratch!
And your boy Basil Hawkins. I honestly wasn't really expecting X-Drake because we don't really, besides his backstory, we don't really know much of what his go actually is.
Bro, we know literally nothing about Eustace Kid. I don't know why everyone has their fucking dicks hard for Eustace Kid. Like, we know just as nothing about all of the Worst Generation. Until Whole Cake Island, all we knew about was Law. Everyone else, we knew fucking nothing, practically. So, and then we started getting Capone with Whole Cake Island, and you know, but like until like I don't understand why everyone's like, oh, X-Drake and Scratchman and whatever, but Eustace Kid, I would fuck him.
Let David listen to this right now.
Okay, David, he wants you to listen in for some reason.
All right,
what's up, Thurman?
So, Eustace Kid is the equivalent to Broly hype right now.
Ooh.
God damn!
Oh my God. It is, though. It totally is.
And I can see the subscribers leaving.
No, man. Remember our Broly video?
I know.
Okay, listen. That's funny. What's your thoughts on Eustace Kid, Theron? Have you fallen fully into the stereotype, or? I am interested in him, but I don't think he's going to be the best thing in the world.
The only thing that really interests me in him is like he's going up to Shanks.
Well, it wasn't just him. It was him and the whole alliance that he was making. That was Basil, Scratchman, Killer. They all wanted to go after Shanks.
Yeah, like the way I consider Eustace, I consider him kind of like the opposite of Luffy. I feel like Oda is kind of doing that. Like either. Well, I'm pretty sure people might consider Blackbeard the opposite of Luffy, but in the sense of Eustace Kid,
more accurate opposite of Luffy. Yeah.
Well, what, the Blackbeard or Eustace?
Blackbeard. Well, it's tough because I think Eustace is the opposite of Luffy in morals, and because Eustace is the closest thing in this series to an actual pirate. We're talking raping, pillaging, stealing. You know what I mean? Like shit actual pirates did. Now, obviously, One Piece isn't going to portray rape, but I mean, he strikes me as a dude who would. And we also, one of the first scenes that we had with Eustace was him basically being like, yo, Trafalgar, how many people you kill? I just killed some dude over there. It's crazy. So, I mean, that's just kind of his thing. And in fact, I'm pretty sure he was the first... I think I read something, I don't know how accurate this is, I read something along the lines of that was one of the first scenes in the story where they straight up just said kill. Normally it's defeated, incapacitated, knocked out, but that was one of the first scenes that wasn't a flashback where they actually were kill. So, you know.
Yeah, so the reason why I say he was the opposite of Luffy was because of the fact that they're not similar in certain degree, but I feel like they're it kind of like how Blackbeard and Luffy goes. It's the same way. It's kind of one of those situations where they both have obviously Luffy has a higher bounty now, but back then they both have super high bounties. They both have both had people who were their second in commands that were also part of the Worst Generation. Obviously, he had Luffy has Zoro, and he had the dude with the mask that uses fucking pickaxes, not pick. Not
no, it was a spinning blade on his wrist or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that guy is kind of cool too.
So, no, I like him. Well, because they were comparing him to Zoro because it was him and his vice captain were also in they were both part had high enough bounties to be qualified as the Worst Generation, and then Luffy and Zoro had
And then the moral aspect Kamie's friend, I forgot what her name was, the one who smokes all the time.
It wasn't Kamie's friend. Well, are you talking about Rayleigh's wife? Or, well, what I assume wife. Rayleigh's friend with benefits.
Yeah, her.
That was Shaki.
Yeah, and she said that the reason why Kid has such a higher bounty than Luffy does is because he likes to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those situations to where they're kind of opposites, and I'm really hoping Oda plays on this a bit because from what I've gathered is that Oda is trying to have Luffy be have opposites of Luffy in different aspects. You know how Blackbeard's opposite than Luffy in
ways of going about being the king of pirates, I think would be the best way to put that.
And Eustace Kid in opposites of personality. Because I mean, let's think about it. I mean, they both were trying to go after Bianco's, albeit for different reasons. Obviously, because Law asked Luffy, and Luffy said, "Sure, why the fuck not?"
Mm-hmm.
And then Kid, we don't know. So they started an alliance, and then we have the morals aspect where Luffy would rather defeat someone because I believe in SBS the reason why Oda said that Luffy doesn't kill is because
he doesn't kill because it would end their dreams and their ability to have a second chance. Yeah.
Having your dreams crushed is worse than being killed. I believe that's what it said.
Something like that. So, because I mean, it reminds me of. Do you remember that scene from there was a scene in Alabasta where he was super apologetic about to some dude where it was like he didn't give a shit until he was that shit was my dream, and then he was I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So and then Eustace is the guy who's just I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna kill. And then we have they have two strong second in command who are also part of the Worst Generation. So I mean, I feel Oda could be just me, but I feel like Oda's trying to make Eustace opposite of Luffy.
He does seem to be set up. He does seem to be set up like he's going to be important, which is why I found it so fucking funny when like he did nothing post time skip, and then the first thing we see from him besides him like is just he's just as King of Lightning. King of Lightning. I love this man when he's he's explaining what happened to Eustace Kid. Eustace Kid got baby shook by Kaido. As in, take a little baby by the neck and just shake it a little bit until it's dead, is what happened to Eustace Kid. It's dark, but it's accurate.
So it's just great how, so it's just interesting how there's like a comparison there. So, I mean, my thought of Eustace Kid, I think his Devil Fruit is interesting. Magnetism, the way he uses it is kind of different. But I mean, for overall, like I'm not gonna fall into the Broly-esque hype that he's somehow.
I think people hype him a lot because people always goddamn overvalue the bounties in this series, man. It does not mean as much as you think it means. The bounties are how much the government is worried about you. That doesn't always mean fighting power. It could mean it's how much you have the ability to change the world, change the perception of the government, change how the world works, change the status quo. It has not a lot to do with fighting ability. There's a little bit maybe, but that's not the only thing it has to do with. So when he had a higher bounty than Luffy, even though it was literally explained in the story, it's because he murders people. It's not because he's necessarily stronger. People took it like, oh my god. There are still people that think that Eustace Kid is stronger than Luffy is right now. Because of the bounty thing. Yeah, no, like, people are like, oh, no, because Eustace Kid... Because some people take it as, like, well, Eustace Kid... Like, there's a dude on King of Lightning stream who was like, well, Eustace, like, yeah, sure, Luffy, stayed on the island and trained for 2 years, but Eustace went out there and got real-world experience. That's more valuable. Like, people are stretching, man. They want Eustace to be so powerful. Even though, the one thing you've seen of him post-time skip is just bloodied and battered in a fucking jail cell. Baby shook.
Oh, that is great.
I'm telling you, man. He's just. I'm excited for him, but like, when you got people like Scratchman Apu who fucking cut Kizaru in half. The man cut Kizaru in half. If he put Haki in that attack, he would have killed Kizaru. I don't even know. Can you infuse Haki into sound-based attacks? I don't know. But if you can, you would have killed Kizaru there.
The long arm tribe.
Like, has that ever occurred to you, Thurman? That, like, you remember that attack where he, like, literally cut Kizaru in half, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's devastating. If he's fighting someone that isn't intangible, that's instant death.
And kill.
And then if he can put Haki in that, because obviously the main drawback to that attack that Scratchman did is it seems to have a very long startup time, which obviously makes sense. An attack that fucking OP should have some weakness, and it seemed to be the long ass startup time. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to a lot of them. I Eustace Kid will be interesting, but he's never been the most interesting one to me. Mr. Basil Hawkins, by the way, transitioning. Let's just. You know what? Now we'll do Basil Hawkins after this chunk with Zoro here. So let's.
So I want to rub this into your face. So me and Redd are ongoing about who's Luffy's best friend, Usopp or Zoro. Yeah. All right. so let's post the damn chapter right now, okay? Let's post the damn chapter right now. I'm posting this into your fucking PMs, Redd, so you can see it.
I've seen it. It's right here. I got the chapter up. He fucking...
Prime time.
What, are you trying to say that Zoro's better friends with Luffy because Luffy immediately shoved his cock in Zoro's mouth the second they met?
Bro, you don't do that with the mutual partnership. Nah, fam. That is some best friendship right there.
Can you admit to me, though, that, like, the way he hugged him is hilarious because he that is Luffy cock in Zoro mouth.
You notice how Zoro didn't do that fragile masculinity shit. It was like, get your fucking cock out of my face. He took that shit.
The fuck is happening right now? Jesus, titty fucking Christ.
Wait, David, look. Okay, because Luffy hugged Zoro, though. Look at how he straight up puts his balls in his face.
What the actual...
he was jumping from a high thing, so he just nutted Zoro in the face. Yeah,
If that was Usopp would have been
I'm
like,
reluctantly doing this, but
Luffy, get your nuts out of my.
He was like.
So your argument is Zoro accepted the nuts in his face, but Usopp would have been like, bro, get your nuts out of my face.
Perfect. Boom. Right there.
Okay.
That's how you can tell a best friend from a friend. Right there.
Okay, so all jokes aside, I will give you props. I thought it was really sweet to see, especially considering Zoro rarely smiles post-time skip. I thought it was very sweet to see. And they certainly do have a friendship. I'm not denying that there's aspects of them that are friends. I love when they have their bro moments, but I still think that Usopp is a better friends with Luffy simply because of the big whole like to me I just get vibes that Zoro is there simply to further his own goals for the most part, and he sees Luffy as a good way to do that. As well as the fact that the big one is always that when he threatened to leave the crew because here's the thing, that Usopp's weakness was always the fact that he saw Luffy more as a friend and less as a captain, and Zoro had to be the one to teach him, no, you have to look at him as a captain and a friend, but you have to prioritize the captain part because you have to respect him as a captain. And I like that, and that's cool, but if you're looking for simply who sees Luffy more as a friend and less as a boss, it's Usopp.
I mean, you wouldn't be best friends with your boss?
I mean, not best friends. It's a little weird. It's kind of like trying to date someone or be friends with them after you've dated them. You know, like it's possible, but it's hard.
It's possible, but it's hard.
Yeah. So I mean, no, this was sweet. It was a sweet scene. I love that, and this just comes down to our little inner squabbles. And one day we have to do a video on this, Thurman, a debate, a full-on video debate on who's better friend. But I'm gonna take a wild stab in the dark, Thurman, that when Usopp and Luffy meet, I bet you there'll be a similar cock-to-mouth hug going on.
We'll see. We'll see.
Nose to cock, docking.
We'll have to see how that works.
Good God. Please, no, don't fuel the fanfics.
What's longer, Luffy's cock or Zoro's or Usopp's nose?
Oh, God.
So,
and that's officially something on Rule 34?
Either way, Thurman, it's going to happen. It's going to be... I'm actually legitimately going to compare their reunions, and we're going to scientifically analyze, like, all right, which friendship's better?
So the one thing I want to mention about Zoro is you notice Zoro is doing the Gozaru thing
Yeah, he's trying to like he's inserting it, but it's like in really bad places, like Gozaru.
What is their booze Gozaru?
Give me some fucking booze.
So quick little fun fact. I'm reading Maho Sensei Nejima, and there's a character who's a ninja who says "de Gozaru" after everything. So I'm very good now.
All right,
I'm very.
Quick things I want to mention too is let's talk about this crazy, like, I love how Oda goes from like the beauty, because like he starts this arc by showing us the beauty of Wano and how beautiful it is, and that's really makes it a lot more impactful when we see the fact that Kaido has just fucking destroyed so much of this country.
Yeah, man, I was just like, wow. It's just like the food, water, everything is poison.
And this it's a little too fucking real. Like where they're like, oh, the capital city and the royals and Kaido are the only ones that get like clean water and food. Everyone else has to like scrape by or pay them. Like that gets real. Flashbacks to Flint, Michigan. For real. Like if you want some real world comparisons, up here in Michigan, there is a city that has lead in its water, and you can literally drive 15 minutes to a whiter, more rich town, and it's fine. But, because of who lives there and how poor they are, government doesn't care. It happens in real life. It's very, very true and very, very sad. And I like that Oda's going there with this story.
I agree. I extremely agree. Now, one thing I do want to mention is, let me go back to their chapter here.
How about how Luffy's like, as he's warning Zoro to not eat the meat, he's eating the meat.
Right. But my first thing I was just like, wait a minute, Luffy, you realize there's someone who's dying because she doesn't have any food, right?
And he's like, fuck, there's someone who's dying.
So I'm just like, I was just waiting for Oda to play off that because Luffy was like, meat. But I'm like, wait a minute, Luffy.
You know what I really loved about Luffy in this too? Luffy didn't give a shit when Luffy didn't give a shit when the water was polluted. Luffy didn't give a shit when the landscape was dead. But when it was like, oh, you can't eat the animals because it's polluted, he was like, what? Now I'm ready to kick Kaido's ass. I didn't have a reason up until now.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
And he's like, you ruined perfectly good slabs of meat. That's all he sees animals as. Fucking cue PETA on One Piece. Glorious. Now let's talk about my boy, Basil Hawkins. Here he is. He's all... Bro, let's talk about the thing he's riding, first of all. That thing is sexy. Like, what is that?
That
Dave, look at this.
is...
Look at the thing
What the fuck?
It's like a flaming deer thing. I don't know. It's cool, though.
Yeah, it's cool. I kind of want one.
Yeah, King of Lightning stream. Like, he was like, I need one of those. I'm getting one.
This man was he was riding a fucking flaming deer from hell.
Wow, Thurman, took you a while to get that sentence out.
I was playing off of it as I go, but
yeah, you're real good at that.
40 minutes.
You can suck my
It's fucking One Piece. You want me to fucking jizz all over your blue hair? That didn't work either. Damn it.
No,
so,
I don't
like,
want
can
bukkake
we
in
talk
my
about one
fucking
of my-
hair. Jesus Christ, dude.
I'm tired. You pissed me off. I wanted to jizz on you. All right.
of this
I'm just
of this
saying,
chapter.
it's a good fucking discussion. You took that the wrong way, motherfucker.
Yeah, I thought you were about to be like... I thought you were like playing Mr. Shonen editor back there, like, hurry it up, bitch, hurry it up.
So
I'm not a cunt.
talk about my favorite part of this fucking
Wait,
chapter.
before you get to the Zoro Luffy team up, which is epic, let's just talk about my boy Basil, okay? We can't.
Oh god, you can have the little wank.
Listen, man. Okay, I don't know. Okay, wait. Who's your favorite supernova besides Luffy or Zoro?
Law.
Besides Luffy, Zoro, or Law?
Basic ass bitch.
Yeah.
I'll probably say Scratchman Apu, even though he hasn't done anything, but the way he was introduced is good.
So I'll say, when Law had his moments, the hype was real, correct?
Yes.
And when Scratchman Apu has his moments, the hype shall be real. This isn't a decision I came to recently. Basil Hawkins has been my favorite since I first saw this shit back in like 20. I don't know. It was like, because I was caught up with the. I wasn't. I was catching up. I caught up with the anime when the Sabo shit was happening. The Sabo original flashback right after the war. So I think I saw this in probably like 2013, 2014. I'm gonna guess. And since I first saw it, I loved Basil Hawkins. I've been waiting for this fucking man to have a moment for so long. You give me this. Again, he's already doing his tarot cards shit, man. He's got a long ass sword, and I love that. You can tell he's doing the 98% chance thing. So you know he came there. He was like on this fucking deer. He's like doing the cards, like, God damn it, it's Luffy. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to see. Talk about your Luffy Zoro team up. Do it. It's cool, but I want to hear your hype.
Oh my god, man. So, one of the best parts about this, and more evidence that Luffy is Zoro's friend. So my point here, look at this shit right here, right? We have two people who start trouble just by being there.
They are two birds of a feather in that regard. Although I would argue that best friends counterbalance each other.
We see this man Zoro, as soon as he introduced, bam, cutting somebody up. Every time Laurel!
Bro.
Did he just ship them?
No. I took it more as like the Zoro with an L, like people are doing Lanji.
Oh God.
Loro.
When Luffy is, punching celestial dragons and shit, bro. This is the destruction duo right here. Luffy, Kimono said this. don't cause a disturbance. And Luffy's like, all right, we'll just have to apologize to him later, bro. Imagine the symbolism of that. Luffy and Zoro caused so much trouble just by themselves. Imagine these two teaming up together, bro. Like, come on.
I'm very excited about it. Like straight up. Because I don't think we've seen shit like this since like early One Piece. Like I'm thinking back in like when they fought Mr. Five, like they one-shotted Mr. Five together.
Or when they one-shotted that fucking Sea King together.
Or when they one-shotted that wave together.
Yeah.
Actually, that was many shots. Well, no, actually for them it was one shot, because it was like a Natsu Fairy Tale War God 2 shot. When it took him, he didn't one-shot a War God, he two-shotted a War God.
I'm surprised you even know Fairy Tale.
I knew Fairy Tale because I really enjoyed watching people shit on it. So I kept up. Every time there was a big scandal in Fairy Tale, I'd listen to rants about it. So I knew about his two-shot of the War God. I knew about, I think it was Gajeel coming back from the dead like 3 times. It was like, he's dead, he's not, he's dead, he's not, like 3 times in a row in like 5 chapters. Same thing with the old dude. Was it Mavis? No, wait. Who was the old guy?
I forgot his name, but I know who you're talking about. That
too, that happened with him, and then just the whole debacle of an ending. So yeah, no, I know about the horrible shit that happened, but this is epic. Oda, I'm gonna level with you, Oda. Don't do that thing that you do sometimes where you set up a fight and then something happens to stop it, please. Just let this be a fight. Give it to me. Like all too often in One Piece lately, it feels like. You're like it almost gives me, and luckily he reprimanded. No, there's a word for it. Thank you. He rectified this with Luffy Katakuri. That was a long ass fight that was very detailed, and I was happy about that. But up until then, a lot of the arcs has felt like very modern Ruby-ish, where like it almost feels like he was avoiding writing fight chapters, like he was like
Ruby-ish.
Yeah.
No shade.
Now. It's just because, like, with this, I gotta be honest, I want to see, like, at least a full chapter of them and Hawkins scuffling. It doesn't need to be a full fight to the death, but I want, like, maybe a half a chapter. Give, like, just something. I don't want it to just be one clash. I want this to be a thing, really badly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want this should be the moment where Hawkins comes down, displays what he can do in a fight. Because we've seen, and just to remind you what he can do, what Hawkins can do, he's got the voodoo doll thing where he has multiple lives. So you can literally give him a killing blow, like stab him through the fucking head, and that won't kill him as long as he has enough voodoo dolls. And you know, knowing Hawkins, he probably has a good, like a good set in him right now. So like, yeah, I don't know if Zoro wants to go there, but if Zoro pulls like a fucking I'm gonna cut you in half, won't kill him. You have to do that a couple times. So you have that. You have there was also the thing that we saw where he was actually able to transform into like a terrifying scarecrow looking creature. Do you remember that? He had like the nails and shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, like he's got attack forms of his devil fruit, and he's also got the defensive voodoo doll thing. So I'm interested to see what he can do in a fight. And I really hope that Oda actually goes pretty deep into this. I would love to see a long, drawn-out fight with him. Doesn't have to be stupid long, but not just one clash either. But yeah.
I agree. I heavily agree.
Any final thoughts here? Any predictions?
Nah, man, I'm good. I got my fill.
Oh, we should quickly touch on the Ace stuff. We got so wrapped up in our tangents. What do you think about the Ace flashbacks?
It was interesting. Something very Ace-like.
Yeah. Where can I get dessert?
So I mean, it's not something too grand in my opinion.
I agree.
It's very nice to see Ace again. I'll bet even if it only isn't a flashback.
I do think it was funny that he was like he told the girl to like we'll come back for you if you become an enchanting Kunoichi, and they're like, why's she got to be enchanting? like what is Ace doing there, setting up future waifus? That's a little questionable.
Future waifu for laifu.
Well, It reminds me. So you remember all that controversy when Sanji kissed Pudding because she's 16 and everyone was like, "Oh my god," and it was like awkward, different countries, different laws, gray zones. With this, it's another thing where I'm hearing people are memeing like Ace as like a pedophile, and it's like, oh god, it was a joke. He just said in enchanting in Kunoichi. That was all he said. Come on, people.
She just meant that she's going to be a very beautiful woman when she's older.
Yes, exactly. SJW's running amok. Fucking A.
At this point, it's the rampant all over the nerd fandom, nerd community.
Well, it was like, you know what I'm fascinated about is they latch on to shit like that. They latch on to Pudding and Sanji. No one latched on to the fact that Sanji kicked Big Mom when his whole thing is I don't attack women. That's the one that even gets me a little like, holy shit, Sanji. I still think that's kind of a big oversight. Like, no one even, and that kind of says, that says how we feel as fans, too, because no one even fucking noticed. I had to be told and retroactively go back and be like, holy shit, he did attack Big Mom. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. It's beautiful. But yeah, I guess that's good. Peace.